All right, so we're gonna dive into the program. Now, as we are diving into the program, this is something that I just wanna quickly give you a quick review. We're having the session that is going to be interactive, and we integrate all learning programs. Those are the three integrations. So when I'm discussing or when I'm unpacking the program, we interact all the three, they merge together at the same time so that we can have a full understanding of facilitation. Remember, yesterday, is it other day, we spoke about the functionality of communication. For you to be able to deliver a learning program, we said one thing, that number one, you need to know the communicative function. You need to be able to communicate to your target group. Communication is key. So if you're a facilitator here, let me repeat this part. If you're a facilitator and you cannot open your mouth, you cannot be able to speak, please work on the skill of opening the mouth and speak, because facilitators, not only just being talkative person, but you must be a lively social person, because you are going to speak to masses, you're going to speak to individuals, and the language that you're going to use, let it be adjacent to the learning program. I know as an organization already, the organization might have what is called the language policy. It might have the interactive policy and how you administer a program to your students under the QMS. Every organization has got the quality management system policies and procedures, but it is now goes down to you, and it lies entirely onto you, the facilitator, to deliver the program appropriately to the beneficiaries. But you're only going to do so if you are able to communicate. Number two, you'll need to plan and prepare for your facilitation. Definitely. Before communication can even happen, planning is key. You need to plan and prepare for your facilitation. And one thing that we shall look at in the terms of preparation, that you need to design the entire flow of the program, project it before even it happens, that this is how you want to perceive, to see the facilitation taking place. This is how you want to see the class rolling out. So you think about the class before even you sit in the class. You think about the delegates, how you're going to behave, how they might behave. We project any eventuality. We plan even for any condition that might happen. You know, that's why when there are different scenarios, when you are facilitating to a group of individuals in a normal standard classroom, let's say you are doing a normal foundation schooling, it's different from the advanced individuals under the outcome-based education. It's different from the adult education and training learning, right? So there's all these different circumstances and scenarios. For a foundational school or a normal general school, people go, or those students go and sit in class, and then you talk to them, you facilitate to them using facilitation techniques or material that you have and all that, right? Sometimes because they are young, you have to take control and take charge. That's a different scenario. But under the outcome, the OBE, outcome-based education, we're looking at the outcome-based learning. So it might be facilitating to individuals post-matric. People that have finished at their matrix and they are doing a course, or they are doing a higher program, whatever case might be. It could be a learnership that you are delivering, right? These people are coming from different backgrounds. They have different, concepts and understanding. Their abilities to articulate are not the same. So you need to plan for these people. These are the people that we're talking about in facilitation. We're not talking about the normal schooling. The people that are coming from different areas, we do not know them, but we need to plan for them. So that is the facilitation planning we're talking about. The plan, preparing for them to be in the class efficiently, and then you deliver the program. You need to look at that scenario. Then let us go deeper to understand. As a facilitator, you need to know that when you are going to hold a group, you need to take the leadership role. We spoke about it yesterday. You need to be the leader. A leader, and all students must be followers. Otherwise, if you allow also to have different leaders in the same group, you're going to have problems. Differently, you're going to have serious problems. If you have members that have risen up and take up your place, they take up your seat as a facilitator, then you're going to be sidelined. That's why you find when you go to a class, because you didn't plan, because you're not taking up the leadership role, you sit in a class, and then individuals are doing their own stuff. Some are on their phones, some are busy with whatever they are doing. There's no concentration whatsoever, simply because you have been sidelined. The leadership role has been taken away from you by your very own students. So it becomes an issue, right? It becomes an issue. So for us to take up the leadership role as a facilitator, you need to be able to manage the group very well. Managing involves one, management skills that you're going to have to use. Number two, assessment skills that you have to assess the situation, assess learners, integrate them so that you don't have one group that is so much highly active. You know, when you sit in a class and you are busy presenting, and there are those that are so much active, they are very much attentive, and there are those others that are just there passive. You know, we have those passive students. They are seated, they are just watching your moves. I say, okay, what is he talking about? Does he know what he's talking about? Some of those ones, they might be knowledgeable, they might know something that you might not know. So they just want to catch you at an error. Sir, it's wrong there. What you've said is not correct. It happens, okay? So you need to be attentive, moderate. They take up the role of moderation. You know, moderation involves evaluating the situation, learning environment, and be able to facilitate appropriately. Now, the communicative function is broken down into three main categories. The communicative function is broken down into three main categories. What are these ones? Yesterday we spoke about them. So it's a build-up, what we are going to talk about today to continue, but I'm trying to guide this session so that it can bring in individuals who are unable to attend here yesterday. Now, when you are busy communicating, the communicative functionality as your role as a communicator or as a facilitator in a class, you need to look at these three activities. Number one, the social activity. Social activity involves you coherently speaking and socializing with individuals so that you do not limit them, you know, their participation into being acknowledged or being, you know, supported. You need to be social and admitting, you know, individuals to be part of learning. Social cohesion is so key because it brings in learning to be formative learning. You know, to confirm learning is when people are able to participate. To confirm learning that took place, individuals are able to answer a series of activities or exercises that you have set up. To confirm learners that they are very much learning, that there must be that social interaction amongst themselves. We shall look at that part in details further when we're looking at the critical cross-field outcomes, okay? Critical cross-field outcomes involves identifying, you know, communicating, organizing, collecting, working as a team. You know, we have about 8 critical cross-field outcomes that we will normally focus much more on, you know, and those ones involve social cohesion, social, you know, activities that you as a facilitator, you are able to communicate to individuals. If they have questions, you are able to admit that there are questions and there are serious things that you need to correct or they need to understand furthermore. So you acknowledge their input, right? Rather than disputing, you acknowledge their input so that you can allow information to flow from one person to another. In facilitation, learning is not centered on a facilitator. Learning is distributed across. Everybody is part of the facilitation session. But there must be the role that you take up as a leader to manage it. Otherwise, if everybody is going to speak at their own time intervals, it's going to be chaotic, you know. You're going to have so many noise and everybody is up and down because now you've given the room onto them to manage. But you take up the role of leadership and through sequencing and admission to speak, right? Admission to speak. So that time is very good. You admit individuals to speak. You don't just, people just randomly start to speak anyhow. You must acknowledge and recognize their hands that they are indeed willing to participate, and then you give them a go-ahead to participate. That is your social part of it. The managerial concept is where you need to manage the group, right? You need to manage the group. Managing the group involves your procedure management, all right? And administrative activities, things that you have prepared. Any person who is going to facilitate, you need to have prepared yourself, right? If there is no preparation, that's where you find people are unable to deliver a program. Why? They didn't plan. They did not put up the structures in place. So there's nothing that they're going to speak about that is going to flow. So they're going to be moving from one end to another. Information is going to be mixed up. You get what I'm saying? So we need to know that we have prepared our class, and preparation starts from where? Remember, we spoke about the lesson plan. Preparation starts by you planning that this lesson is going to be on so topic. So you have already identified the topic you're going to speak about. Number two, you know the target group that is going to attend the auxiliary program. Number three, you have got the content and you're a subject matter expert on that program. Don't go to a class and you start to read a manual. I want to bring an example. Textbook. Don't open up a textbook in class. It shows that you are not prepared. Textbooks are meant for reference, right? Learner, reference. What you should have as your facilitator is your facilitation tools. That is your facilitator guide, and that is given onto you by either the training provider or you have developed one for yourself. That's what we need. We need as facilitators. So the facilitation program or the guide will have your attendance register, will have the program breakdown, will have the outcomes, will have the activities that you're going to do. Those are the formative assessments. The activities that you're going to give out in class, we call them formative assessment. We shall discuss that part in terms of assessment practices, but you need to know, right now that there will be some exercises that you must give, part of the formative learning, right? So as you interact, you give out questions, you give out assignments, you give out scenarios, you give specific cases, and then people are involved and they are integrating in terms of learning. So that is all part of your management. You are already prepared, right? Anybody who's prepared will be organized during learning. Definitely, you will be organized during learning. So preparation is key for your organizational structures. Number two, procedures. The procedure is the flow of data and content that you're going to deliver. Remember, I spoke about the credit value, all right? The credit value gives you how long will the course take. So if you don't know the duration of the course, you cannot program yourself on what are you going to deliver on which time and which time intervals, right? So you need to know. So the procedural activities involve preparation of the activity, all right? Preparation of the activities. That involves the preparation of session one. If you're gonna do introduction, what is in the introduction? After introduction, what will follow up? So you do a program, a full structure with time intervals. That from this time to this time, we're going to talk about this. From this time to this, I'm going to give them a break. We're going to have some discussion. We're going to have some laughters so that it is interactive class. So those procedural activities are key. You need to know how to program your class. They need to know that indeed a class is well organized, and it's through the management, the managerial role that you're going to do that. Then the last part is the administrative activities. A record of, number one, attendance is key, right? And you can do it prior or you can do it after. So sometimes it's either the beginning, you record your register, or you can do it during sessions, because maybe you anticipate a group that you are facilitating to, some people are coming from far, stuff like that, and then you want to have everybody, to be part of. That's different. But if it is timed facilitation, timed facilitation doesn't have literally to wait for anybody, right? You start the class, you appear or you show up in class earlier than any other person, and then you take up your register. You record who is present, who's not present. Because remember, in terms of assessment, we go back as far as looking at the facilitation registers. The attendance registers is one of the documents that the assessor during assessment will look at, because assessor cannot conduct assessment unless learning took place. And then for you to verify that learning took place, as an assessor, you need to look at the record of facilitation, that indeed there was learning took place. There's attendance registers. So it is very key during your administrative activities to record the registers, to mark the registers. And sometimes you can do peer mark of the registers, or individually you can do it yourself, right? Peer mark is when you give the register, individuals, they sign up and then put their own names. But there is some malpractices that normally happens in that regard. If you're supposed to be doing timed facilitation, everybody's supposed to attend. It's compulsory for attendance. Most people, if you are doing core unit standards or core and fundamental programs, it's compulsory for everybody to attend. Some might sign for others. In more cases, if you have a very big group, some people might sign for others, and you might not know, you understand, who attended, who didn't attend. So it's always also good to have name tags, to know individuals by name, so that you can be able to relate to their own activities and attendances, so you know them. That's why also one of the things that we always encourage during administrative, that a facilitator needs to be aware of all the learners in a class. You need to know them, familiar yourself with these learners' profiles, so that you are able to assist them during assessment, right? During assessment. So administrative part also includes things to do with learners knowing what they're going to attend, right? So the course materials, the timetables and the durations when they're supposed to attend, they know. The venues where they're supposed to attend, they know exactly what's going to happen. So you need to give out those timetables and information about the course before actually you start your facilitation. That is what we do when we are conducting the managerial role. Now, when we dive into furthermore, we said yesterday, please, facilitators, encourage yourself to be integrated in terms of learning or having some skills in IT. Know how to work with computers, know how to work with technology, right? Know how to present. Presentation is much more better than standing in front of the learners and speaking, right? Because they have something. And when you graphically put information into those dynamics of graphic interfaces, people will understand much more better. There are specific specifications that you cannot explain by yourself. But if you play a video, it will be more adjacent and people can be able to understand much more better. If you play a role play, you put in a role play and there's some usage of gadgets, the people will understand much better. So try to incorporate those technical aspects, right, into your facilitation. Don't make a facilitation class to be just generic and raw with no any interactive mode of ITC. Please involve ITC. It will make your work very easy. We are in the fourth industrial revolution, you know that. Yeah? IT is everywhere. So try to, work along with it. We cannot, deny that the world is changing and information is changing. So we need to be, current with such information. We said integrate as well. Use the integration model. The integration model involves areas where there's disagreements, right? Be open. Don't be a static, individual that doesn't adjust yourself. That we have some people who are professors here. I don't want to talk about professors, Professors, you are very strict, so your answer is final. No, in facilitation, let me say, in facilitation, your answer is not final, okay? We accept individuals' inputs. We accept them so that we give them a chance to express themselves. That mode of expression, even if they're expressing something not right, there's a recognitive way how we can recognize and correct them in masses rather than penalizing them on the wrong that they have said. So we recognize their input and we discuss, any scenario. Like an example, you can pose a question. What is assessment? What is facilitation? And people will start to raise up their hands. When a person stands up, majestically they stand up. Already we recognize that they have taken that initiative to come out of the pool and stand out and stand and give out that information. So we recognize that part. And then where there are areas of disagreements, where there are, not comfortable at ease, we bring it as a discussion, right? So they can go and discuss about it, and then let them, everybody bring up their own answer or their own interpretation tomorrow, and then we summarize it. There are specific questions that you're going to pose, most especially under open-ended questions. We shall talk about types of question formations. We have got the closed questions and then the open-ended questions. So closed questions are those that are direct questions. List down 2, 3, 4, 5, mention 1, 2 is direct, define is direct. But when we come to discuss, explain, identify, questions that have got that norm of identify, discuss, explain, expand, those questions that do not give any limitation. A person can go and pour their hearts out to explain a lot of stuff, even if you're gonna give them 2 marks, but they explain a lot of stuff. Thus, we say there's area of concession where both of us, as the learner and the facilitator, we use a principle. I'm going to say it here. We use a principle called the VAS principle to conduct assessment. VAS stands for VA, right? CS, VAS principle. So we use the VAS principle. I will explain much more about that principle when we come to assessment. All right? When we look at the validity of the answer that they have given and the information that they have given, how valid is it, and the authenticity of the answer that they have given or the information that they have given, the currency, is it current or is historical information, and then the systematic part of it, the approach that they have used, the consistency of it is how we also conduct assessment and evaluate their input. Yeah, so among those things also we look at the issues of accepting individuals, that there will be questions that will be posed during your assessment or facilitation. There will be questions, but how do you interpret those questions also as a facilitator? I've seen a lot of facilitators that do not take part during the design and development of the program. So they are not part of the program. They're just given a program to deliver, and you find that you have been given a program. There are already assessments that have been drawn up, right? Drafted, and you are not part of it. Those are very challenging because you need to first understand the mind behind the program. The mind behind the program is the training coordinator or the program director or the organization themselves. You need to understand what were their interests in this program. Remember, when a program is being designed, a program has got a target group. Every program, we don't just design programs or teach or facilitate programs for the sake of facilitation. We are looking at a target group and the outcome of that program. That this is a target group. These people, we want them to train on this program, and at the end of this program, they must be able to do 1, 2, 3. Right? So you need to be at the back of the mind of the developer of the program. At the same time, the person of the organization that brought up that program to understand their achievement, their motives, and what they want to achieve, because it's not all about making money, to train people and make money, but what gap are you closing? There's a gap that they're trying to close. So when you are facilitating, you need to be emphasizing onto those things that the training provider or the developer of the program was looking at to close a gap. If I want to assess individuals or train a person on how to drive a vehicle, I'm going not only to teach them on how to use the K53 indicators, but also to go beyond K53, right? Because they will need to know the scenarios and circumstances in case of emergency, what happens? In case of rain, what happens? In case of accidents have been made on the way, what happens? In case of losing control, what happens? So you bring in different scenarios because you want, at the end of the day, the person who is learning how to drive must be behind the wheel, behind the steering. They must be behind the steering, and they're gonna drive. And once they are on the road, anything can happen. Their lives and the lives of the road users are at stake. So we need to train them so that they are competent That's why the name competent, the information comes in. Competent to drive, effective driving, right? So that's one scenario. So we look at the ways on how we pose our questions. Your question that you pose, not to penalize individuals. You know, I wish to have students that always say, may I have a scope? Can we have a scope? I think it's normal nowadays, you know, the normal foundational schools, the normal school, it's normal, you know, the scope that have been given. But the back of the assessment must be driving towards achieving a specific goal. So even when you're posing question, they must be for a specific objective. That's how we do it. So that when you do so, you diagnose the concept of the outcomes, and then you are able to deal with anything that might, you know, bring in confusion. Misconception is confusion. That people are not confused on what they're supposed to do at the end of the day. I think we get that part very clear. Now, the communicative function goes beyond the approaches. We call it the facilitation approach, right? It goes beyond. Under the communicative function, there's what we call the theoretical approach. Theoretical approach is when facilitation emphasizes on different forms of facilitation. Either you are learning on site or off site. So look at that approach, right? Look at this scenario. I'm seated here and I'm behind my PC and I'm talking to you in a live real-time class. This is more like I'm sitting close to you. I might not be close to you, but hey, spiritually, I'm there. I'm there, I'm next to you. That's why you're able to see me live. We are, you know, in the live class. Now, there are circumstances between this kind of setting and the one that you are physically seeing the learner. There are two different ways. So when you are off-site, this is off-site. We are not on-site, we are off-site, we are working remotely. Understand? But the on-site, face-to-face, is totally different approach. Why? In on-site, we are going to be more interactive. We're going to be more hands-on. We're going to be more supportive because we are face-to-face. Now, face-to-face, you're going to read, number one, body language. Let me see. Face-to-face, yeah. You're going to read body language. Individuals understanding, right? You see them by their facial expression. Whether someone gets it, you will say, they start to think, did I get it right? What is he talking about? So you read their faces because you are with them. So the approach that you are using that is not working onto them, you have to change it. You have to change the mechanism on how you deliver the program because you see they are not getting you. So the approach is key. Facilitation emphasizes on not only on just one set of facilitation methodology, but a variety of methods. Body language is one key. Facial expression is two key. Communication, where individuals will raise up their hand and communicate, sir, we don't get you. What are you talking about here? We have those bold ones that will stand out and talk. They express themselves. They are there. So you need to know also how to approach them because there's a sort of way. If you are a man or a woman who needs your respect and the person say, I don't get you, sir, what are you saying? There's going to be an insulting way, right? But it also depends on how you started the program, the introduction of the program. Because if you don't set boundaries, that's what you get at the end of the day. The other ways is on how do you communicate to these individuals, your response. The response is key because when a question is being posed from the audience, how you respond. Do not respond immediately when a question has been raised. In facilitation, because we are facilitators, we are not teachers. We are facilitators, we're not lecturers. Information is not centered on us. Information, we say, is, you know, is moving across, you know, is distributed across. So do not answer questions immediately when they have been posed. Give yourself a moment to pause, right? Put a block and pause, and then think about the question. before you answer, because you want to think about the question and answer appropriately, not only to one individual, but to a majority of them, because there's not only one. One has raised the question, but your answer must not go to that one alone. It must go to everybody to understand. So your approach is key. So instead of you answering the question same time there and then, even if you know the answer, please throw it back to the audience. Let them discuss it. Who can answer this? Who got some input? You have asked the question. Anybody who can answer it, right? Anybody who can help. So you be part of the learning part now, right? You become part of them. So they won't be able to pin at you that, hey, Sam, you said this and that and that. So they take, upon you, they hold you accountable for whatever you've said. So please always use the approach of resentment, be reserved, and then answer the question as appropriately as possible, but not only to an individual, but to a group of individuals, right? Be able to analyze individuals' behavior changes, right? That is part of the social part, right? Social management involves personal relationship in the group, technical support for participants with difficulties. Now, here, it involves individuals that need extra support. Involves individuals that you're going to read their facial expression and be able to attend to them on a personal more manner, right? Rather than as an integrated group. Here is a point where you have to be able to analyze the attainments of information. Information is going to be attained in different ways. Remember, all these people are coming from different backgrounds. They do not belong to the same WhatsApp group. Some are very active, some are passive, some are slow learners, some are very active learners. So you need to bring all of them at the same page. So your approach must be very much in response to their behavior, right? The behavior of individuals. One individual can turn the class against you, just one, by the way you answer or you respond to them. I know sometimes, facilitation, when it involves a lot of talking and you are the only one talking, it is very much tiresome and it's overwhelming, right? And sometimes you become angry. Some people have got short temper. Please, if you've got a short temper in facilitation, do not facilitate. And if you've got challenges, personal circumstances, also it might not be the right time to go in the class. If you were at home and you fought with your husband or husband fought with the wife, things are not good at home, it's not the right time to go into a class to facilitate, right? It's always not good, because all those things are going to impact onto your delivery of the program. So find a way on how also you are protected emotionally, because the learners or the participant can affect you both mentally and emotionally. You can be affected by their approach to you. So how you handle the situation also becomes a matter of your own insanity, that you are not taken out of context. Have you ever seen facilitators and learners fighting one another, literally boxing? Some others learners will say, okay, this is what he has said, between me and him we shall see. They find you when you are off campus or you are off on your way. They target you. Those things happen. It's the approach to facilitation. Why? They don't understand the methods of facilitation and the group dynamics. We always look at those learners with different understanding. They are not the same. That's why we look at we call it the group dynamics, and focusing on how to manage group dynamics, right? Communicative function, focus on these communicative functions, right, in different ways, so that you can help the learners or the participants to maximally achieve the objectives of the program, right? Now, these are the things that you need to look at. These are, we call them sustaining motivations that will keep your class or your group to be at peace or at one, understanding. Number one, if you want to sustain communication within a group setting, one, it is always good to maintain active participation, right? Active participation is when a class or a group of individuals are fully active, and they are willing to be part of any exercise or any activity that you want to give. Where you find that there is numbness and dullness of the class and there is no participation, we call the passive class. Passive learning classes where you are the only speaker, just like now. I think we need to pause for a water break, right? We pause for a water break. When we come back after 2 minutes, right, we shall continue. Let us pause for water break, just 2 minutes water break. When we return, we can continue onto these demonstrations. Isn't it so, Joyce? I must get a water break. My throat is dry. We are back now. All right, so we are back into this session. We are back into our session. Thank you so much. You've given me at least a break. I can be able to breathe a bit. I was unable to breathe, but we are back. All right, so thank you so much, guys. Now, let me quickly summarize this part. Remember, for you to facilitate effectively, these are the things that we're going to use. The first functionality, we have got about 4 functionalities that we shall look at. But the first one we say is the communicative functionality that involves your planning, your management, and at the same time interactive modes when you are in class. So you need this to be appropriate. You need to be familiar with these steps because they will guide you throughout your facilitation period. Number 2, we said facilitation always work with motivations. If learners are not motivated to be part of your class, it will be very difficult for them to gain concentration, to be in that mode of learning. You need to create an environment where they are able to learn, right? So you need to motivate them. You need to motivate them. So motivation is key. Where learners are participating, you need to acknowledge them. You need to acknowledge those people that are participating. When you recognize someone's participation and say, thank you so much, that point is very good. Even if the point is not good, even if it's a vague point, try to build their, their momentum that, okay, I'm saying something good. They will be actually impressed. They will be encouraged to be motivated. They will be encouraged to participate further. Even those other ones that are just spectators, that are looking, they're just part of the group that want to say something, but they are afraid, they have got low self-esteem. Those ones also will be encouraged to speak out. So motivating a group is key, all right? At the end of the day, it's you to benefit much more because you're going to have a very good, smooth class that you are facilitating. We say also the teacher or facilitator awakens the students by curiosity, right? Keep the students in suspense and attentive at all times. Try to bring in those sense of understanding to learn more, sense of yearning more. I wish I just want to be part of this class. I just want to get more information. That's one thing that will keep people awake. Where you find a dull class or a passive class is where individuals are literally not getting you and they are not aligning themselves to the class information or to the class content. So you find themselves, or you find them literally unable to apprehend the information that you are giving out. They cannot comprehend rather information that you are giving out. At the same time, you cannot be able to determine what might be the problem with these people because they are not participating. They're not. It's the delivery mode, the way you are delivering the program, or the structure, how you structured the program. It's not appealing. It is a program that, as if you are reading news, right? If you are going to be a news reader in a class, I'm telling you, you're going to have so many of those ones that are going to be on their smartphones. They're going to be busy on their smartphones. Some of them, they'll go out one-on-one, one after the other. At the same time, you'll have those ones that will say, may I please go out? You're going to have those guys excusing themselves out, in and out. If you have got a group of individuals that actually go smoke, they will take a smoke break before you know, simply because, and when they are at the smoke break, they will be discussing you. You'll be the topic. And you don't want to be a facilitator that is being given a name. You don't want to be that person, right? You need to be at all the time at your perfect moments, that you are a facilitator that is really appealing and giving people interest to be part of the class. Try to bring in issues that keep individuals in suspense. They want to know. They cannot get there, but they are getting there. They want to be part of it, but they want to know more, but they cannot get there faster. There are some those ones who they might know something already. They know the course. They have browsed through, they have perused through the course, and they have seen the end of it. but they don't know the demonstration on how it's supposed to be demonstrated. So it's you who must demonstrate that part. So as you're busy demonstrating, right, they'll get interest. They'll pick up the interest, and then they'll want to know more about how is it going to end, how it's going to be. Just like watching a movie that is full of curiosity. You just want to be part of it simply because you are curious what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next. So those things are part of facilitation. Bring in issues that will excite them. And anything that provokes one's comment, please don't say. If an individual make a comment, and it may be a provocative comment, and also you respond, provocatively, it's going to be a clash. There, you're going to have to go into the area of concession to understand the agreement part of it. Remember the integration mode, where there must be a concession. The disagreements and agreements, there must be some part of it. So you do not provoke a learner. Do not ask questions that are ambiguous, questions that they are unable to understand. Let be on point. When you ask a question, let there be a point. If they raise a point, acknowledge their points, right? Do not dismiss their points. Where that point doesn't make sense, it is something because we do not have the learning capacity, right? The capabilities of our minds are different. So they are all operating on different signals. Everybody is different, just like individuals who go to church, when you are in church, all of them, as I've got a pastor who say, when you are in church, all of you are sick. You are sick people, because everybody has got a different approach and towards what they want from God. So we are in the hospital, and the doctor Jesus is going to heal us, everybody. So that's one thing. So if you are in a class, you act like you are the doctor, and all these learners are patients. Literally, they are patients because they need to learn something new from you. They might have the notes, they might have the instruments, but they cannot interact with those things. So you need to be on top of your game. All right, so we always say, try to recognize their contributions, right? Recognize their contribution. Anybody who brings in a comment, anybody who puts an input, recognize them, appreciate them, let them be appreciated, so that they can be encouraged to participate more. We want a class that is active. You don't want a passive class, right? You need to have a class that is very much active. The last part is to be aware of the group dynamics. Group dynamics is so key when you are conducting a facilitation, when you are unaware of the individuals that are taking part of the group or the facilitation. It's going to be very difficult for you to create an exercise that's going to team them up together, because you don't know them. You don't know how you don't know their background. You don't know how they're going to behave or respond to an activity. So it's always good to first learn. Remember when I was doing the introduction, I said one thing that you need to know about facilitation is that before facilitation, remember the target group. Remember the target group, right? So I believe I've given you some information. All right, this information I think is gonna be adding some value for you. At this moment, you qualify or you move from just a spectator facilitator to an active facilitator. At the same time, you are eligible now to answer activity 2, 3, 4, right, on our assessment portal. So you are eligible now. Activity 2, 3, 4. You are eligible now to answer. With this information, you are able to answer this. See you again in my next session. I don't want to keep you too long. This is an online program. I don't want you to start to become, nar and getting tired of this. I want you to be flexible, right? So that you can join me again in another session. See you tomorrow. We've got another session. Tomorrow is public holiday, but I'm gonna be just online to answer questions. Okay, around this time I'll be online to answer questions. It's public holiday, so there's no class, there's no guaranteed class. But if you wanna join in to interact, you wanna ask questions, I'll be online 10:30. I'll be just online to answer questions. It's not a class. It's just the answer. It's question and answer session. That's all. If you want some support, I'll be available as well to give support during that period, and it's going to only run for 1 hour, and then we shall close. All right, then we shall resume again on Friday. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here for today. Just want to keep you knowing that on Friday we have another session that will come up. However, there will be a repeated class 8:30 today. I mean 7:30 today. There will be a repeated class by our co-facilitator, Mr. Elijah. He will be in class tonight, if it all goes well. But it's gonna be a normal also session. That's to support those who are available. Go and download this video. I'm going to post it now shortly after this session. Go download it and have a review onto this video. Alternatively, also, you can give us a call on 078-359-6200. Visit our website, all right? Visit our website if you want to expand your knowledge. Visit our website, bbtinstitute.com. bbtinstitute.com. Visit our website. There's so many resources and also many program that you can expand your mind and be able to deliver many other qualifications and programs. Also, you can send us an email, info@bbtinstitute.com for more information, or send me a WhatsApp on 078-359-6200 for a personal communication, between ourselves, me and you, so that I can give you that personal one-on-one support. All right, free of charge. I'm not charging anything. Free of charge, personal support, free of charge. So just send me that WhatsApp wherever you are free, and then I can be able to guide you and support you. Thank you so much, and God bless you. See you again in the next session, and have a blessed day. If you have any question, please, I'll pause for just 1 minute. Any question available for me, I can answer this question now, or we can discuss the question. Alternatively, send that question to my WhatsApp. Thank you, and have a lovely day.